Alright, geometry. Here we go with standard 15, which is on calculating surface area for 3D solids. So to start with, let's go over what it takes to be proficient and more. Okay, so to start with, you are at the beginning level. If you can calculate the surface area for 2 of the different solids below. So there are 5 solids listed. We have prisms, cylinders, pyramids, cones, and spheres. So just to be at a level 1, you have to be able to calculate the surface area for 2 of those. Okay, to get to a level 2, you can calculate the surface area for 3 different solids from level 1, including at least 1 solid. We're missing information like Pythagorean theorem, trigonometry, and special right triangles have to be applied. Okay, that's your level 2. You are proficient, you're level 3, if you can calculate the surface area for 4 of the 5 different solids from level 1, including at least 2 solids where missing information must be found or applied, and for 1 composite solid. Okay, or you can calculate the surface area for all 5 of the different solids, including at least 3 where the missing information must be. Okay, and then to get to your level 4, you can calculate the surface area for all 5 of the different solids from level 1, including 3 solids where missing information must be found or applied, and for 1 composite solid. Okay, so that is your scale. Okay, reminder that on the back of this sheet in your notes is this sheet, right, where you have kind of your self-assessment to track if you're prepared, if you understand, or if you need to get additional help. Okay, next, we are actually working on surface area of right prisms. Typo, that 8 shouldn't be there. Of right prisms. Okay, first of all, what is surface area? Okay, surface area defined as the total area of all faces of a geometric solid found for a prism using the formula SA for surface area is equal to PH plus 2B. Okay, well, helps if we understand what those mean, right? So the P stands for the perimeter. Remember, that's your distance around the outside of the base of the geometric solid. Okay, the capital H is the height of a geometric solid, and it describes the distance between the bases. Okay. And B, capital B, is the area of the base of a geometric solid. The bases of a right prism are always parallel and congruent and connected by rectangles. Make sure I'm spelling it right. Okay, so terminology here. Alright, so for a little practice here, identifying key features in prisms. For each prism below, shade a face that could be used as the base, and then highlight and label a distance that represents the height. And give the prism a name based on its features. Okay, and that's done based on what the base is, the shape of the base. Okay, so the first one, our base, could be kind of anywhere, but I'm going to shade here. So these would be our bases, parallel to each other, right? And then this would be our height. Okay, and what do we call this? It could be a square, but to be safe, we're going to call it a rectangular prism. Okay, rectangles on the top and the bottom. All right, and the next one, if you think you know what the bases are, go ahead and shade it. Okay, so just going to lightly kind of shade in here. The bases are my two here. Okay, because all the other sides, remember, are the rectangles. Okay, so then that means this would be my height. And we call this, based on the shape of the bases, a triangular prism. Okay, next one. This time my bases are on the side, okay? If you turned it this way to look at it, that's fine, okay? Bases aren't always necessarily on top and bottom, so those would be my bases, okay? And again, if you're looking at it this way, that's fine. Might help early on. This would then be my height. I'm going to go back to the way it's set up, so this would be considered my height. And based on what the top and bottom are, the bases, this is a hexagonal prism, right? It has 6 sides on there. Okay, next one, shade in your bases. Most of you probably got this. Go ahead and shade it in, and then label your height. So my base would be here and here. Okay, making this my height. And again, what shape is the base? Are the bases pentagon, right? So pentagonal prism. So yeah, that's working. So if it was an octagon, right, 8 sides, it would be called an octagonal prism. Okay, so remember that you always need to find B, the base. Use the formula for the area that were studied previously. So remember, in a rectangle, we have base times height. So the base, to find the area of the base, we take base times, oops, that's an H, sorry. Base times height. Okay, in a triangle, remember, so if this were a right triangle, I would have base and height. Okay, if it's not, remember we have to find the vertical height. So that would be my H and that would be my base. In any case, triangles area is half the base times height. Okay, or you could write it as BH divided by 2, same thing. One or the other. Okay. Regular polygon, this is where it's a little bit different. So remember the perimeter is this distance around the outside. Okay, that's our P. Okay, and our apothem is from the center vertically here, making a right angle here, right? So that's our A. Okay, so the area of our base of a regular polygon, whether it's a regular octagon, hexagon, pentagon, it doesn't matter, okay, is our apothem times the perimeter divided by 2. Okay, so if you don't know one of those, you'll have to find it. Okay, if you don't know the apothem, you have to find it. If you don't know the length of one side, you have to find that to multiply it by how many sides there are. Okay, so a few reminders on a few different area problems, okay? So, to actually go find the surface area, the next page, we have some examples. Okay, we're going to start nice and easy with a rectangular prism, and you're asked to find the exact answer. So the surface area is the perimeter. Perimeter is, remember, this side would be 4, this side would be 5. So the perimeter is, remember our formula is PH plus 2 times B. Perimeter times the height plus 2 times the area of the bases. Okay, so our perimeter here is 2 times 4 plus 2 times 5, or 4 plus 4 plus 5 plus 5. So 8 plus 10 is 18 for P. Okay, and then what is our H? Is 6. And the area of our B, since it's a rectangle, is 4 times 5, which is 20. Okay, so again, go back to the surface area formula is P times H plus 2 times B. Okay, our perimeter, 18 times the height plus 2 times the area of the base. So 108 plus 40 gives me 148. Remember it's area, so it's inches squared. Okay, next we have a triangle. Okay, so we need to find the perimeter of the base. Okay, the perimeter is of the base, so I have 9 here. This is marked as a right angle, so I know this is 9. So I have to find this side in order to find the perimeter. Okay, so I have 9 squared plus b squared equals 15 squared. So 81 plus b squared equals 225. Subtract 81. And I get b squared is 144. Square rooting that makes it equal to 12. Okay, so then I know this side is 12. So the perimeter is 9 plus 12 plus 15, which is 36. Okay, my height is 10. Okay, the area of the base, since it's a triangle, is 1/2 the base times height. Started out giving you the right triangle, so the base and height were easier to find. So that's 54. Okay, so now I just go plug in for my surface area. The perimeter I found to be 36 times the height plus 2 times the base. So 360 plus 108 gives me 468 inches squared. Okay. Next, I have a regular hexagon, which means 6 sides, right? Okay, so first, if it helps, turn it. Okay, this gives me my height. Okay, and I'm told that the apothem is 5 square root of 3. So from the center, so I'm going to pull that out of here. Okay, so remember, I have okay, so if that's my hexagon, I know it's not a regular hexagon because my drawing is horrible. So if I'm at the center, remember we have these 6 triangles, and my apothem is here. Okay, so quick reminder, 360 divided by 6, because it's a hexagon, means I have a 60-degree angle in here, but I cut that in half, making it 30 degrees. Okay, my apothem in here is at 5 square root of 3. Okay, so a reminder, kind of going backwards, we know for a 30, 60, 90. So if that's 5 square root of 3, then we know that's 5. And the hypotenuse is 10, not that we need that, but okay. So if this is 5, that means the length of the entire side is 10. Okay, so if you need to go back to review just finding the area of regular polygons, then do that. Okay, so my perimeter is 10 times 6, because it's a hexagon, there's 6 sides. So that makes that 60. Okay, my height is 8. Okay, reminder that the area of the base is A times P divided by 2. So I have 5 square root of 3 times the perimeter divided by 2. Okay, also note this asks for an exact answer, so I'm going to leave square root of 3 in there. So if I calculate 5 times 60 divided by 2, I get 150 square root of 3 for the area of the base. Okay, so to find the surface area, I take P times H plus 2 times the base. So 480 plus 300 square root of 3. Remember, we can't add those because they don't both have square roots of 3. I think there may have been an error in asking for the exact answer, but that's okay. Inches squared. Okay, if they do in fact want the exact answer, that's what it would be. If not, you throw it in your calculator. Remember, no rounding until the end. You get 999.62 inches squared. But since it asked for exact, we would leave it like that, if it in fact wanted the exact. Okay, next one. Write what we know. Perimeter is 6. There's 5 sides. It's a pentagonal prism, so 6 times 5 is 30. Height is 9. Okay, so reminder, so I'm going to cut out that triangle I talked about, right? We have one of the 5 triangles would look like so. So that would be my 6. So when I cut that down the middle to get my apothem, that means this side is 3. Okay, and when I divide 360 by 5, because there's 5 central angles, okay, I get 72 for this whole angle in here, but this one then is only 36 degrees. Okay, so that means I need my apothem, and we do get around 2 decimal places. So I can do tangent of 36 degrees is the opposite side over the adjacent side, which is A for the apothem. So remember to solve, I multiply both sides by A, and then I have to turn around and divide by tangent of 36 degrees. So 3 divided by tangent of 36 degrees. Okay, and leave that in your calculator. Don't round. Okay, it gives me about 2.1796, etc. Okay, so for the area of the base, I leave the apothem with what it is, that big number. Okay, don't round it. The apothem times the perimeter divided by 2. Okay, so I'm going to leave that number, multiply by 30, divide by 2. Oops, sorry, I accidentally multiplied by instead of dividing, so start again. So 3 divided by tangent of 36 is 4.12, sorry, 4.129, etc. I bumped the multiply instead of divide, so be careful, don't do that, okay? Now multiply by 30, divide by 2. Notice I didn't round yet, okay? So my base is 61.937, etc. Still not going to round. Okay, so to get my surface area, I'm going to take my perimeter times my height and add that to 2 times the base. Okay, I'm putting dot, dot, dot to show I'm not rounding yet. Okay, so since I have that in there, I can multiply by 2 and add 30 times 9. Okay, and I end up with 393.87 correctly rounded 2 decimal places. Okay, don't round until your last step. And we are still in inches, so we're going to say inches squared. Great work, great work. Okay, a triangular prism. this one's not a right angle because there's nothing to show that it is, so we can't assume, right? Okay, so my bases are here and here, okay, which means this is my height. Okay, so first of all, this is marked as 10 as well. So first of all, I can say the perimeter is 10 plus 10 plus 12, or 32, and my height is 20. So what I really need to find is the base. Okay, it's half the base of the triangle times the height of the triangle. So remember, the height of the triangle needs to form a right angle, so we got to find this height. Okay, and we can do that because these are isosceles. It's isosceles, right? The same sides, so this makes that a right angle. Okay, means it cut it in half, making that 6. Okay, so we can do Pythagorean theorem to find this height here. A squared plus 6 squared equals 10 squared. Okay, subtract that 36 is what 6 squared is, right? So a squared is 64, and when I square root that, I get 8. So that means this height here is 8. So I can find now the area of the base. Okay, which is 48. Okay, so for surface area, I do P times H plus 2 times the base, because I have a top and a bottom, so to speak. 640 plus 96 gives me 736. This doesn't have a label on it, but we're okay with that. We just call it units then, right? If we aren't given what the units are, we just say it's units squared. Okay. And I do believe that wraps up our surface area for right prisms. Okay, yep, looks like it is. Okay, so you should be able to go ahead now and complete that homework assignment. I'll zoom out so you can see it all here. Don't always do a great job at that, but try and give it to you here so you can get a screenshot. Okay? All right.